Paul Stutzman lived a great life, happily married, 3 children, and a great job managing a large restaurant in Ohio's Amish country. Then, in 2002, doctors diagnosed his beloved wife, Mary, with breast cancer. Although they did everything they could and believed God would heal her, Mary passed away 4 years later. This devastated Paul, leaving him consumed with a burning question for God.
Where were you when my wife died?
A year after Mary's death, and still with no answer, Paul knew he had to do something different.
And I just felt God saying, it's time, give it up, go on the trail, and I'm going to meet you there.
So Paul quit his job and started his journey on the famous Appalachian Trail, nearly 2,200 miles of rugged wilderness that begins in Springer Mountain, Georgia, and passes through 14 states, ending in Mount Katahdin, Maine.
What was going through your mind those nights in the shelter?
The first night on the Appalachian Trail, I'm in my tent, and I'm laying there. I can't sleep because it's raining, and I just gave up a good job to be out here in the woods getting rained on. And so I just sort of reflected back on my life and how I'd grown up. And I just told God that night, you're going to be my hiking partner, and I want to know I want answers, and I want to know more about grace.
How long did the journey take you?
I had planned on 6 months, but growing up the way I did, Amish and then Mennonite, we have a strong work ethic. And so I'd get up early in the morning and I just hike all day. And I ended up doing it in 4.5 months, which is pretty fast.
What did you average every day on the trail?
My average on the whole hike was 17.5 miles a day, but that includes 8 days where I took a 0 day, which means a day off.
Everybody on the trail has a trail name. What was your trail name?
I picked the trail name Apostle. And I took that name, obviously my name is Paul, so I was the Apostle Paul. And 500 miles up the trail is Damascus, Virginia. So I was the Apostle Paul heading to Damascus.
What was your favorite state?
I enjoyed Virginia especially. Virginia's the longest state of the states, probably about 600 miles. But it's not quite as difficult as perhaps like Georgia or New Hampshire and Maine. But the scenery coming over the Shenandoah National Park, the scenery is just gorgeous in Virginia.
During his first month on the trail, Paul lost 30 pounds and got in the best shape of his life.
But the average person burns 2,000 calories a day. A hiker on the Appalachian Trail would burn 6,000, so you can't eat enough. And so about once a week, I'd hitchhike into town because I had food boxes sent to me about every 100 miles. So I'd go to a post office and get my food box. And then since I'm in town, I go to a restaurant and hopefully they have a buffet because, you can just eat and eat and eat and eat. And then get a motel room and get a shower. And a shower and a warm bed is such a luxury after you've been out in the woods for 10 nights, sleeping in a tent and in a sleeping bag.
Paul, how did walking in the woods day after day, sleeping in shelters, getting rained on, going hungry sometimes, how did all that help you heal after your wife died?
I was exhausted. My body was exhausted, but my mind was becoming very sharp and in focus. And as the farther I would hike and the more tired I got, the more clear my mind became. And I started seeing a purpose in what God was doing as I'm meeting people.
Day after day, Paul cried out to God. Then, on a Sunday morning, somewhere in New Hampshire, he finally got his answer.
He took me on my face in tears when he revealed to me why I was on this trail. And God said, you're writing a book, put this message in the book.
While it wasn't the personal message he was hoping and expecting, Paul saw it as a word for everyone. Jesus is coming back.
What I heard was that I had to take your wife to get you out here in this mountainside to hear that message. And tell people that I am coming back. I am in control. I know what's going on.
And what would you tell to people that are maybe even now going through the loss of a spouse?
It does get better. It takes time. And with time, the healing comes. And I think it's good to know, though, grieving means we love somebody. The only way not to grieve is not to love. Our loved ones want us to go on with life. You know, they've got it made. They're in heaven. They're just having a ball. But they want us to enjoy life. And there's a lot to enjoy.
And you actually thought about what would be on your tombstone at the end of your life?
Would I just wanted to say I worked all my life at a restaurant and passed away? Or would I wanted to say he took a chance, he took a risk, and he quit his job, and he hiked the Appalachian Trail? And I decided I wanted to read that way.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News.